2 years ago. We open to a small bedroom. The once white walls have yellowed in age. The paint has chipped. In a couple locations, the wall is dented with a fist-sized fracture. Decorating the walls like band-aids are various sports posters, specifically of Horizon City's Major League Football team, the Horizon Hurricanes. And of a few posters of women wearing exactly as little as would be desired. On a desk adjacent to the disheveled bed, we see a computer setup that, while sophisticated for our modern standards, appears outdated by those of 2170. The screen is cracked. The coloring of the background picture is distorted. It's here that our exploration of the room is cut short. A teenage boy rushes through the door. He wears a black tank top that showcases his muscular and athletic physique. Red-faced, his right eye twitching, he sits on the bed, and we hear some not-so-muffled talking through the wall.
That's not the point, Maria. You know I don't give a damn about potential. I need to see results. And that game tonight, those weren't results, it was failure. Peter fell short, and it's because he doesn't give a damn.
Sitting on his bed, the teen clenches his fists. A woman, his mother, speaks.
Now, that's not. It is. We put a roof over his head. We give him food. We give him all the opportunities in the world, and what? He pisses them down the drain. You think that kid's making it to college because he's smart? I mean, he could. Absolutely not. You've seen his grades. Fuck, Maria, you've talked to the boy. Gears don't turn in that head, and you know it.
The teen, Peter, he grits his teeth. His eyes water, but just as it looks like he might cry, that sorrow shifts to anger.
He's healthy. He's strong. That's all he has, and I'll be damned if he's going to keep slacking off, because so help him if I need to watch him play bench all game again.
It's at this point that, in one fluid motion, Peter stands and throws his fist at the wall. A cracking sound emanates from the impact, and he winces only slightly before pulling his arm back. He leans in and aims to deliver a second blow to the wall, completely unfazed by how his ring finger is contorted. But before he can strike the wall again, his door flies open, and standing in the doorway is a man that looks a lot like him. Short, broad-shouldered, muscular, but where Peter has youth, his father bears scars and wrinkles. His father's eyes, cold and gray, weigh on Peter, and all the furious momentum Peter once had is lost.
What the hell do you think you are doing? What the hell have you done to your hand?
Peter holds his hand up, finally noticing his broken finger, and the blood. His father steps towards him, reaches out towards him, but stops. The two lock gazes for far too long before Peter's father says,
You don't give a damn at all about any of this, do you? You're stupid. You're weak. And if you want to throw away your life like this, then get out. There's no room for failures in this house.
Hello, Internet. Mr. Critically Accursed coming in real quick at the beginning of this issue this time, because I have just a couple of announcements that I want to hit you over the head with before we get things rolling. We are closing in on the end of Volume 1 of Horizon, A Tale of Heroes and Hormones. And listen, if you haven't scrolled down wherever you're listening to this issue to check out some of our social links, you need to do that. Like now, like go do it. Pause the podcast, scroll down, click some of those links. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Discord. Why? Because I'm telling you to, damn it. No, on Discord we're trying to get a lot of things going in terms of building community and offering things for a community to do. Some of the things we have going right now are Every Friday, we host movie nights, double features. Each month has its own theme. For March, we're watching musicals every Friday night. And we would love to have fans and friends there showing up and having a good time with us. Saturday nights, we have a more casual anime nights. Same sort of deal. Swing on by, watch some anime with the crew, with cool people who are also interested in anime. Not only that, over on the Discord, I am running a choose your own adventure sort of thing for the Discord. So the Discord gets to vote on prompts and kind of direct how the story flows. And currently, the theme of this adventure is being set in Vampire the Masquerade. So if you're interested in vampires, if you're interested in choose your own adventure stories, if you're interested in learning some stuff about Vampire the Masquerade and just like talking about that sort of thing, or having just a little bit of a story that's updated daily to check in on, then join the Discord, damn it. Just do it. Not only all of this, but once we hit issues 11 through 15 to really close out volume 1, I'm thinking about maybe breaking out my wallet and doing some sort of giveaway for fans. And gotta say, you should probably follow us on Twitter and join the Discord if you want to partake in the giveaway. Just a little bit of a heads up so you can get ahead of the curve by doing these things. Plus, Twitter, Discord, the best ways to keep up with any news, announcements, or awesome events that a Critically Accursed podcast will be hosting, doing, or trying to get going. So, like I said, scroll down, do these things. But that's enough talk from me. Let's get on with the show. See you guys at the end. Okay, Mats, we once again return to Horizon City. And we return to Horizon City, I think, several years after Recharge's, or Pep's prelude. He's had time to really embody the mask that he chose to wear that one fateful night and grow into himself and begin figuring out who he is. 3 years have passed. That's quite a long time. And I want to ask, what happens during that time? How are things going? But lucky for us, built into the Janus playbook is a way to determine how things are going for all your various fun obligations. So, to kick things off, reading straight from the Janus playbook, when time passes, you roll 2d6 plus your mundane to see how you're managing your various obligations. The result will determine what happens, or how things are currently going.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'm going to ask you to do that now.
Sure. That is an 11.
On a hit, things are going pretty well. You have an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of your obligations. If it comes up, we'll see what happens. But you can just kind of remember that one of your obligations owes you something beneficial
Okay.
at this point in time. And if you have any ideas of when and how that can pop up, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, if I think of something, I'll just do it.
Sure.
Now is the time where I'm going to ask you, what do these 3 years look like? What has happened since the prelude?
So, given his return, I suppose, over the past 3 years to a more mundane lifestyle, while he's still doing superheroing here and there, he's probably been focused on getting through school, caring for his family while his dad's out of town. We can even say something that's forced him into focusing more on his family. Say his dad lost one of his jobs because we established that his father works multiple jobs to support his family. So we could even say, his dad lost one of his jobs. Peps had to pick up more time at the pizza place that he delivers for. So he's been doing that.
The Mushroom Kingdom.
The Mushroom Kingdom, yes.
And Mr. Mario is very thankful to have such a dedicated delivery boy in his employ.
Yes.
Wonderful. How is his heroing side going in that capacity, since he's spending so much time working for the Mushroom Kingdom, watching out for his brother, and trying to maintain his grade in school. What does his heroing actually look like?
He's definitely still, I'd say, active, but he's probably cut down a lot of his time that he's out, like, say, patrolling or, I guess, actively, like, fighting or stopping crime.
So is it an occasional thing? Like, maybe I only really have time to do this on Friday and Saturday nights, so those are the only times I really go out and patrol.
Yeah, I think that's something that's probably what is going on right now. He's probably sticking to the weekends. As much as he wants to get out there and really, like, be the hero, his home responsibilities have definitely weighed on him. I'd say that there's probably times where he gets out to do it more, like his dad's pulling in more money, but I guess if we're generalizing the 3 years, like, as a whole, yeah, he's probably limited to weekends and maybe some off nights, or even, like, when he's out on deliveries, if he can find some time and, like, ends up stumbling across something, he'll stop to help and then continue on with his work for the night.
Yeah, he doesn't ignore the call to heroing. He just doesn't seek it as much as someone who's a dedicated hero would.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense in a lot of ways, especially since you've reverted back to your mundane label, having a +3 in mundane. You're focusing on your family, your obligations, and the city, Horizon City, this world. There are heroes out there. I mean, you have 3 of the biggest heroes headquarters in your city. So unlike other heroes that might be similar to the Janus in, like, different fictions like Spider-Man or whatever, there's not that hard call to action. The city's not going to crumble if Recharge doesn't go out for a night. So while we're talking about starting crime in the city, this isn't Alex's character.
Oh, Jesus.
While we're talking about stopping crime in the city, I think to really get into the swing of things, I want to begin officially by going back to describing the beginning of this book in terms of panels. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, can you paint me a nice little scene of Recharge's most recent crime-stopping caper? Whatever bad guy you want, however you want to frame it, get creative, feel free. I just want a taste of Recharge's heroism in your eyes.
Sure. We'll say that it's one Friday night. He has found himself some time to actively go out and patrol and superhero and stuff like that. He's probably got a much better get up than he had in the Prelude at this point.
Actually, what does he look like now that he's had time to grow into a costume and his mask? Can I get the visual on that?
Sure. I still think that at 16, he's a little, like, lanky and kind of awkward. He was never, like, a super tall kid, but he's still growing into himself. His costume is still the all-black spandex, like, LED strips going up the side, as well as kind of the half, almost like the Judge Dredd helmet. So, like, the almost like a Daft Punk helmet, but, like, it stops and still shows, like, his jaw and mouth and stuff like that, so he doesn't have to speak under the mask. And the, like, middle of his suit is just a plus sign, and that's also LED and light up. So he has a very flashy suit. He has the, like, LEDs around the soles of the boots that he wears, and when he walks, those, change colors with the pace that he walks at and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you could probably turn it off with, like, a personalized local, like, Wi-Fi network.
Yeah. There's definitely the option to turn it off and go dark.
Or even, like, generate black light so you can hide into shadows easier.
Oh,
some future shit
go.
Like black
That's
light.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like it because you do have an inventor friend, but more on him later. So with the visual of Recharge in his nice LED-laden costume, what crime's he stopping? Carry on with the scene.
We'll say that he's hanging around downtown, patrolling there. I assume that there are a lot of clubs and stuff down there. So the panel would be him in, like, downtown, all the lights, very bright panel, and a giant hole in one of the clubs down there, music, like, pulsating out, some sort of, like, indicator of that the club was very active that night, and a giant, probably like 9 foot tall, all gray humanoid just like coming out of the hole in the wall that he just destroyed. And so it's him in the middle of clashing with this giant, I guess, alien looking thing.
We probably get a couple of panels of a couple of action shots of Recharge getting in a good blow and this giant alien.
Oh, he probably picks him up and like ragdolls him at one point, like into a car. So there's probably one of like Recharge like pulling himself like out of a dented car, and then like quickly like reaching back and like leaving an apology note like under the. He probably carries those around. He'll just leave like an apology
like
note.
Cards?
Yeah, like sorry.
That's hilarious. I love it.
And the final scene could be Recharge getting thrown like against a wall, but he manages to like reverse himself, like catch himself on the wall and then propel himself off, like from the prelude, the rocket move that he did. So he goes careening into the alien, like right into his chest. And then the next panel is the like alien like shrinking back down to size, and it's just a guy.
It's just a guy.
Yeah.
So the question that immediately jumps to mind is if he repeats this move he did in the prelude, this Gohan headbutt. Obviously, it's a lot more flashier and practiced in this particular shot. Maybe he adds a twirl into it or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's a lot cleaner.
But for some reason, I think we vaguely mentioned him naming some of his moves.
Yeah.
Does he have a name for this move yet?
Yeah.
He can like very anime like yell out while he's doing it.
Of course, rocket engage. Because that was the command for the rocket propelled bicycle.
So I think we get this really nice action shots of Recharge performing the rocket engage maneuver on his adversary.
Like one of the panels is probably like just the close up of his feet and the like kind of the kinetic glow that we kind of described in the prelude like starts to surround his feet, and then the next one is like him pushing off and the energy from that like propelling out of his feet like you would see like at a rocket launch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like mid-motion, maybe just before he's about to connect with his adversary, we pull back from the panel a little bit to see that the panel is being displayed on a handheld device. Mm-hmm. And a speech bubble comes into that panel that is reading in Robbie Pepper's voice saying, See, Dad, that's the rocket engage move. I told you, look, and he dropped this guy just like that. One move, very solid hit, and he just keeps flicking through his handheld device, talking rather energetically about Recharge's most recent exploits. And the panel pulls further back and we see your father, Mr. Pepper, on the couch with Robbie, as Robbie's just fanboying about Recharge and showing his father a whole bunch of different images on like a news feed. There was probably, I guess, a photographer, someone with a camera. Everyone has cameras.
Yeah, I was at that point. Everybody downtown, they got their camera phones out. It's probably some
camera phones.
Yeah.
Seth has established that like smart contacts are a thing, like Google Glass, but contacts.
Oh,
exist.
yeah, that makes sense.
So there's people that are blinking and just taking pictures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I almost want to say we pull further back, and is Pep listening in on this, like nearby?
Yeah, we'll say that Pep's like in the kitchen, like getting orange juice from the fridge. So it's probably him looking through like the doorway from the kitchen to the living room as his brother regales his father with the tale of Recharge's exploits from the previous night.
Did we get a name for your dad?
Dad?
Let me see. I might actually have a name for him.
That's Mr. Pepper to you.
That's Mr. Dad to you. I have Albert.
Al Pepper.
Yeah. So Al, as Robbie's fanboying some more, Al will say, with kind of a smirk, he looks kind of young, doesn't he? And Robbie immediately goes off by saying, yeah, that's the cool part. He's probably like my age, which is, I just think it's so cool that someone like my age is going out and doing things like that. Your dad, Albert Pepper, shakes his head a little bit and says, it's I think it's rather dangerous for someone so young to be doing things like this. Nah, Dad, I don't think so. He's obviously made to do it. Pep, what do you think? You think Recharge is doing what he should be doing in the city, right?
I'll bring in 2 glasses of orange juice and probably like a tray of snacks or something like that. Set him down on the table and say, it sounds like he's putting himself in a lot of danger.
Yeah, but he's doing it for good reason. And look, he can do it. He beat this guy up.
I'll pick up the tablet that he has to look at the pictures from the internet and like flick through them and like hold it up to like the point where he's like driving the crown of his head like into the guy's chest and say, this looks like it hurts a whole ton.
Well, I bet it does. He probably deserved it.
No, I mean for the guy headbutting the giant gray man.
Oh, for Recharge?
Yeah.
I'm sure Recharge is fine. I hear that his skin's made of rubber, so he doesn't even feel impacts. It's why he bounces around so much.
I think you would need a skull made of rocks in order to do that.
He chuckles and he just says, I don't know. Either way, it's still really cool.
He's definitely very flashy. He'll say with like a kind of like a proud grin almost.
And your dad, Albert, says, he certainly is flashy, kind of dressed up like a Christmas tree, but Robbie, why don't you put that down and go get ready for bed? And Robbie will, like, chug his orange juice that you brought him, like half chug it, and scurry off, essentially, saying that, oh, he has more to show your dad, so he's going to hurry up real fast and be back before going to bed. And he scampers off.
Yep.
And your dad just kind of leans back. And there's like a TV on in front of you guys, but the volume's super low. It's just there for light and background noise. Your dad says, your brother sure is excitable.
I mean, look at everything that goes on in the city. I guess it's hard not to be for a kid his age.
Yeah. I worry about him, though.
That he's going to run off and fight giant gray alien men.
Your dad kind of shrugs. Maybe that's a bit foolish of me, but all these young heroes around, I think they might honestly be a bad influence on someone like him.
Like he said, he's doing it for the right reasons.
There's law enforcement, there's actual heroes that are doing these things. It just kind of seems like one of these kids these days with a little bit of power kind of just wants attention. And I worry about kids like Robbie getting hurt because of it.
Pep will continue to flip through the tablet, and he's like, last set of pictures he downloaded about this guy was 3 months ago. At least the hero that he looks up to isn't out there doing it every night, I guess.
I guess that's a bit of a blessing, but who knows when.
I mean, his idol could be that legacy girl that's flying around beating everybody up.
At least she has a heritage, an actual hero to look up to and learn from. This Recharge fellow, he kind of just gestures at the tablet that's on the or that's in your hands now, I guess. He just kind of gestures at it casually, and he says, this Recharge fellow came out of nowhere. He's bouncing around breaking cars constantly.
The article here says he left a sorry note.
Which I guess is cute, but it doesn't really solve the problem of getting kids like Robbie looking up to him and wanting to do the things he's doing when they have no right to.
Well, you know, freshman year, they teach us we all have to take that metahuman course.
Which probably doesn't help either. And your dad kind of yawns, and you see it just in the light of the TV. He has these bags under his eyes, and he's physically and mentally, as he starts slowing down in the conversation, exhausted. He just reiterates, that class probably isn't helping any either. Kid like him, no powers, nothing like that to make him stand out. He's a bright kid on his own, but if he starts idolizing people with powers, what he's capable of might not be enough for him someday.
Well, I mean, other kids his age idolize athletes. They go out and play the sport, but that's more readily accessible. Robbie's not back there breathing fire and, jumping over buildings. I think not having superpowers is probably good. He's not going to go out there and do it because he doesn't think he's invincible.
I hope you're right, Pep. I hope you're right, but do me a favor. I'm leaving again tomorrow. I'm trying to get a secured position at this delivery job, and that means that I kind of have to sell my soul into it for a little bit. Can you just watch out for your brother and make sure this doesn't go to his head? I know you do. I just want to hear it from you.
I already got a distraction coming, Dad. And Pep will like reach into his backpack and put a video game on the table and say, I borrowed this from a friend. It's not the new one, but I don't think he has this one yet. So he'll spend 4 weeks playing this and not think about going out and trying to be a superhero with no superpowers.
Your dad will lean forward and pick it up off the table and look at it. And he just says, looks kind of bloody. How about you and I play for a little bit when he goes to bed?
Okay. I think there's a setting where you can turn the blood off.
Yeah, and he'll look at the game for a little bit. And I think after an awkward pause, just as you can kind of hear in the house, Robbie wrapping up his getting ready for bed, it's brushing his teeth or whatever, your dad will just kind of mutter, loud enough for you to hear. He's obviously talking to you. He's just not saying it super loud, but he does say, I still think this recharge fellow, I think he's a little bit more of a hazard than a hero. The collateral damage, the way kids like Robbie are looking up to him. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel different about it in the morning, but I can't shake the feeling.
Isn't that all heroes, though? I mean, hold on. Pep will pick up the tablet and type in Valor and pull up the latest, like, Valor family heroic deed and just point out, like, all the collateral damage that I'm sure the family that can fly and shoot laser beams from their eyes caused.
Yeah, you pull up one of the most prevalent articles you find that almost comes immediately once you type in like Valor and collateral damage, heroism, or whatever, is when the original Valor, shortly after the villain known as Acid Splash was found to have escaped prison, Valor went to Horizon High and forcefully confronted Acid Splash's son, Mr. Splash, right before class. And that's kind of a gossip article that a lot of people like, is Valor losing his minds? What's happening to the Valor family? Stuff like that. So you have a ready example of a legitimate hero kind of taking a little bit of a dip.
Yeah, I'll show that to my dad and just say, see, I think it just comes with the territory. These guys that go out and do that, it's almost as if they're looking for it.
Maybe none of them are right in the head.
This is the original Valor, and he's beating up my third period teacher. I came in as he was being ushered out.
Oh, I think I missed that one in the news. And your dad kind of yawns again. And it's at this point, you hear Robbie running downstairs, and you see in his hand is a piece of paper.
As the panel that shows him shows the sound of someone running downstairs or whatever, the next one will be Pep quickly reaching over and hitting the off button on the gaming console that him and his dad have been testing out the game with.
Right. So the TV's off, or the game system's off, and you two are acting very nonchalant as he comes rushing in, and he hops onto the couch with this piece of paper, and he unfolds it, and it's actually a lot bigger than you thought it was, kind of like a scroll, I guess, and he points out some of the drawings he's made of Recharge. The Valor, Sky Valor, is in here. It's just of heroes.
Yeah.
But a lot of the newest stuff is Recharge, and he actually doodled the thing he was pointing out to his dad, the rocket engage maneuver against the giant gray alien guy.
Pep will lean in and say, when did you hear about this new guy?
Robbie will pause for a moment and kind of shrug and say, I think I heard about him, some other kids talking about him at school maybe, I don't know, a year ago.
What did he do?
Oh, there was something... Yeah, something went wrong with the self-driving cars at one of the busy intersections downtown, and he saved some people from being trapped in burning, exploding cars.
There'll be a thought bubble that pops up above his head, and it's just and none of the collateral damage was my fault, Dad.
Yeah, and we lean over a little bit to the other side of the couch, and your dad's beginning to fall asleep.
Hey, Rob, we got to get upstairs. You gotta let Dad sleep. He's got an early morning.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this here for him for if he wants to look at it when he wakes up.
Tell you what, go put it in his work bag.
Yeah. He smiles and he scurries off.
And then the final panel, I suppose, for this touching family moment can be Pep putting the recliner back for his dad as he's already asleep and draping a blanket over him, and then like turning the TV to like the news, and then turning the volume all the way down.
Yeah, we get a few nice wholesome panels to kind of tie out this little chapter. Now, during these quiet panels where you're here taking care of your dad, I would like to... Honestly, I kind of want to see how much your dad's opinion means to you.
That's fair.
You know, he's talking about Recharge. He clearly, like, he doesn't hate the guy, but he definitely doesn't seem to have high opinions on Recharge. And maybe he honestly doesn't have high opinions of heroes across the board, as you were kind of getting into a little bit as you kind of poked and prodded at the conversation. And I think this is an interesting dilemma because he was talking about Recharge without realizing that you are Recharge. So he was talking about you. And if I say that because your dad has influence over you, over Pep, his words potentially might shift Pep's labels, would you accept the label shift, or would you try to reject his influence and just say he has no idea what he's talking about?
No, it's the first one. He would probably accept it. I mean, at that age, too, your parents tell you something and it sticks through your parents.
So then during these last few panels, it's probably Pep reflecting on some of the things your dad has said. And even if Pep doesn't necessarily 100% believe him, it's at least the beginning of some doubt. You know, maybe he is causing collateral damage. Maybe he is, in a way, a bad influence on Robbie.
Yeah, and there can even be panels where, you know, the like half panels with like the top corners, like a thought bubble, and it's flashing back to different, the car incident, the fight the night before, and a few other like superhero moments where he's ended up causing collateral damage, or I mean, in the case of the night before, he was thrown into the car, but there could be, you know, he's going to punch one of the guys or one of the villains, and because he's a lot stronger than an average person, he ends up punching into a wall, and like the wall crumbles a little bit. Just stuff like that. It's
like, why does he carry around business cards that say sorry? Why is that a necessity? Why is that something he felt the need to do? And in that regard, if you're accepting your father's like indirect influence, I think he's increasing your danger by 1 and decreasing your savior by 1.
Okay.
Which brings your danger, if my notes are correct, danger now to a +2 and your savior to a -1.
Yes.
Okay. I think we jump ahead a little bit. Jump ahead a miscellaneous amount of days, an unknowable amount of time. And
time.
It's unknowable.
Time passes.
Yeah. The little the square at the top left of the panel just says time passes with a question mark next to it. But the next panel sets the scene. We're at Horizon High. We see maybe one student like flying in and about to land on the roof, and a whole bunch of people just funneling in through the door. It's an establishing shot, an establishing panel of Horizon High. And this is the week where we're coming up on a national holiday, the national holiday being Remembrance Day. This is a day that came about shortly after the conclusion of World War III. It was mostly originally a celebratory holiday for like, oh, the war's done. The awful, awful war is done. And it kind of blossomed into a more idealistic Thanksgiving. This year, Mayor Carmichael is hosting a ceremony, like giving a speech and hosting a ceremony downtown city center. And then the streets are going to be open for festivities. There's going to be food stalls. There's going to be shitty future rides that are still going to probably fall apart at a moment's notice. Actually, no. The rides in the future are the exact same shitty rides we have now. Yeah.
They were all built in the 70s.
Yeah.
But not the 2170s, not even the 2070s, the 1970s.
Yeah. And all of that is set up for the end of this week, for Friday. And because this future is apparently a hellscape, you don't have the day off. You have a shorter school day, but you don't have the full day off. I forget why I did that, but it's apparently a thing. Focusing back in on Horizon High, I think we jump to lunch. What is lunch like for Pep?
Probably sits with his group of friends.
Is Greg included in that group of friends?
Yeah.
So then we get more establishing panels of Pep hanging out in lunch, eating. He eats a lot?
Oh, probably.
Is he a big eater?
Yeah, probably a ton.
Yeah. So maybe we even see him like taking food off of other people's trays if they're not going to eat it.
There's definitely a panel where like he's like biting the burger that he has, but pointing at somebody else's tray and says, "You're finishing that?"
Right.
Question mark.
Right. And you pointing at the tray, Greg will just like meet your eyes and look down at his burger and slowly pick it up and start eating it, like taunting you. But yeah, we get some nice interactions with him just hanging out with friends and being briefly really normal.
Yeah.
When lunch wraps up, I think Greg kind of catches Pep before the group disperses and pulls him aside and leans in a little bit and just says, "Hey, listen, I got something going on. Don't tell anyone, all right? You can't tell anyone." And he waits for a response.
Is this an oath of silence?
What I will say is that if you break this oath, if you tell someone about what I'm about to tell you, then I might burst into flames. And I don't think you want that on your conscience.
Is that a superpower or?
Yeah, it's my really shitty superpower.
You just burst into flames.
He chuckles. Yeah, but it's only when people break their promises to me.
Well, if this is a oath of silence, we have to do the oath of silence handshake.
He nods. Like, he gets a very serious look on his face.
I imagine there's a panel of, like, Pep squinting, and then there's another panel slightly lower of Greg squinting.
And then the between the panels
is the handshake. Yeah, and they do, like, a couple different things, and...
Right, there's, like, a very colorful, explosive background to it. It's very stylized. Yeah,
it has the kinetic energy lines coming off of, like, Pep's hand. They pull in, and they both say, "Oath of silence."
Yeah, so there's a speech bubble coming out of both their mouths, and it meets in the middle.
It's like smaller words to indicate they're whispering.
Yes. Great, yeah. And then he leans in even closer and says, "I may have a lair established in the basement underneath school, and you need to check it out."
What?
Yeah.
Like
a workshop, like a laboratory.
Like a secret base?
Yeah, I got a present for you down there. So you meet me after school, like right after school, like right here after school. And we're going to go to the secret base.
He'll just give like an affirmative nod.
Yeah, and he like slowly backs away.
Pep will slowly back away the other way.
By now, in the background, you could see other students just like looking at the two of you weirdos really awkwardly. Yeah, and then you guys disappear into the crowds.
There you go.
God, that was wonderful. Oh, man. Matt, you have such wholesome interactions with NPCs. All right. So jumping ahead in the day, I'm assuming Pep will meet up with Greg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very prompt.
Yeah, so we can kind of cut ahead. There's another little block that says some more time passes. And then we cut ahead to Greg leading Pep down some stairs. And the lighting's a little bit dimmer to signify that we're underground. And he approaches like a utility closet, I guess, that still has an old-fashioned like doorknob handle instead of, I don't know, auto-opening doors like the future would probably have.
Pep will just kind of look at it and say, "Is that a doorknob?"
Greg nods and then says, "Yeah, but it's just for show." And he leans up against it. He leans up towards the door and he whispers something that sounds kind of like door engage. And you hear a clicking sound.
This is like a thought bubble that says, like, we really have to get more creative with our command words.
Yeah, and there's like a clicking sound, and then the handle kind of folds into the door, and the door slides into the wall, and you can see this dim glow of like screens and a bluish lighting from overhead kind of filling the small room. And Greg will lead you inside. And as soon as you step in, the door slides closed behind you.
How the hell?
Greg clears his throat and says, "Lights, engage." And the lights turn on. And you see that you're standing in, it's a very legitimate looking workshop. Like, it's not pristine, it's not perfect, it's not anything you'd find in a place that, like, would have money to fund a workshop. It's very piecemeal, but it's surprising the amount of equipment and gadgets and stuff he has in here. And Greg spins around and opens his arms like, ta-da.
How long have you been... When did you... Greg?
Yeah. Yeah? You like it, don't you?
This is awesome.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, the janitor may have helped me out. You know, Janitor Jim? The weird old dude?
Yeah, I know who Janitor Jim is.
Yeah, turns out he likes tinkering. I started talking to him one time, and he actually showed me that this used to be his little workshop. We kept talking, and one thing led to another, and I figured I'd work on surprising you with a secret lair.
I mean, this is incredible.
Wait till you see this. And he's going to, like, head back to one of his workbenches, and he picks up a Daft Punk helmet. But it's very similar to the one we saw in Recharge's first panels of today's session.
Yeah.
But maybe the visor is... You can't see through it at all, not even a little bit, when looking inwards towards the mask. And there's like LED strips that right now are just slowly surging with lights. He holds it out to you and he says, "All right, put it on. Try it out. It should fit. You have a big head, but I know your head size by now."
It's normal size.
It's big. You have a big head. Let's not beat around the bush, Pep.
He has like a sour look on his face because he's obviously just insulted by his friend, and he puts the helmet on and goes, "It is kind of snug."
And Greg puts like one hand to his chin, like he's thinking, like he's contemplating, and he wondered, there's a little thought bubble from him going, did I mismeasure? No, I never mismeasure. Maybe his head grew. And I think we get like a point of view shot from Pep at this point where he's looking at Greg thinking about this, and maybe that's we even see the thought bubble from Greg, whatever. But Pep, you can see perfectly clear through this visor that you would have sworn is just jet black glass or plastic or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you see perfectly clear, and then as you blink a couple of times, you see augmented reality information start popping up. Like, it identifies Greg for you.
Whoa. Is he's like holding out his hands like everybody does in movies when they put on like AR goggles or VR goggles? Whoa.
Right. And if you're holding out your hands, when you move them, it actually gives you this subtle reading of like kinetic energy just from the motion you're doing.
Whoa.
Craig smiles and says, "Yeah, I know, right? Amazing. Also, there's a voice modulator in it."
Voice modulator, engage.
And you see at the lower right-hand corner of your visor, it just says voice modulation engaged.
He says, "Oh, wow, of course it is."
I think that to close out this particular scene, we probably see... In my head, Pep has the helmet on the whole time. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just Greg going around and showing him all the things he's like working on. Not all of them are gadgets for Pep to use in his nightly heroics. Some of them are just thoughts and ideas and concepts that might have uses down the line. But it's him showing off the little bunker. And he says that to get through the doorway, it recognizes his voice, your voice, and the janitor's voice. So no one else should be able to walk in. Unless they can mimic voices or something ridiculous like that.
That would be absurd.
That would be really absurd. God, I should do something different, shouldn't I? Maybe keys. Maybe just old-fashioned keys, huh?
I don't think anybody would expect that.
And we pull out as you guys are just hanging out in this super cool little janitor closet that's been turned into a workshop.
There's probably the last panel. It's just like a giant monitor or whatever. And then Pep goes,
So we could play video games on that, right?
And then it's Greg's just like smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah. And then maybe just one more panel showing like the most elaborate, ridiculous video game setup. Like he opens a drawer and shit pops out of it.
Oh, no. Even better. It's him just going game room, engage.
And then like a wall flips.
Yeah.
And the TV automatically, the screen automatically switches to pick up the game console, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And you hear this sultry female voice just say, "What game would you like to play today, Gregory?" And he looks immediately embarrassed, like he forgot he did that.
It's like sexy Siri.
Yeah. He says, "Shut up, sexy Siri," not in front of my friend.
All that Pep is saying is just like, "Is that?" And then it gets cut off.
Yeah. Oh, that's some good stuff. So at the end of that scene, we flip the page, and at the top there's another block that says "Even more time passes." And I think today we open up at the Pepper household with Pep going through his usual routine, but on the sink, as he's about to brush his teeth, he finds an envelope that reads Pep and Robbie on it in your dad's handwriting.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, flipping it open, there's, I was going to say cash, but that doesn't exist anymore. So there's a pre-filled credit chip. No, there's a note in it that says, "Pep and Robbie, sorry I can't be around for Remembrance Day. Just know that I am thinking of you even though I'm on the road. I've put 50 future dollars into Pep's accounts. Please go have fun. And give me a call later when you guys are out enjoying the festivities. Your dad, Albert Pepper."
Your dad, Dad Pepper.
Yeah, your dad, Dad Pepper. Mr. Dad Pepper.
Yeah, the next panel can be the like a shot of the hallway and the like speech bubble like coming out of the bathroom. And it's just like, "Robbie!"
And then there's a large speech bubble coming out of his room that just says, "What?"
And then it'll transition to them in school.
And I imagine the transition, it's doing that weird storytelling thing where it's like during the transition, Pep's explaining what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
Even though it would have been taken care of in like 2 sentences before they even left the house.
Mm-hmm. I assume Robbie's the kind of person that needs to like, he seems like the kind of kid that needs it relayed to him in detail, or else he just forgets because he goes about his day.
Sure, he's rather energetic. And
that's what I'm
bouncing between.
That's what I'm getting at. Where he's just like, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot."
Right. I think you guys are riding bikes to school as you normally do, and you're side by side. And you're telling him this, and he says, "You know, oh that's real cool. Yeah, I guess we're gonna meet up after school then and go together, huh?"
Yeah, I'll meet you by the bike racks. We can grab our bikes and head down with Greg.
Yeah, that sounds good. Race you. And he starts booking it off ahead.
Sure. Yeah, they race. Pep will win this time.
Yeah, sure. You smoke him.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. We cut through the school day a little bit. Greg's all on board with this. I'm sure you guys are probably already planning to go. It's just you have more money now to spend.
Yeah.
And I think we cut ahead to the end of the school day. And you and Greg met up. Maybe you have the last class of the day together. So you guys grab your future backpacks and you head out. You're going to meet Robbie out front. And you're waiting for a bit. And he doesn't show. You know, you give him a few minutes extra, benefit of the doubt. Maybe he got into trouble or something. And you're waiting. And the crowd is starting to disperse. Everyone's starting to go down to the Remembrance Day ceremony. And your brother is still not around.
I'll see if I can like spot any freshmen or any kids Robbie's age that I might recognize and just ask to see if they know where he is.
Yeah, you can definitely find some freshmen lollygagging around, and you can ask them, and you ask a couple, and one of them says, "Oh yeah, Robbie Pepper. I have 7th period class with him. I don't think he was in that one though," which is 7th period would be the second last class of the day.
Do you know what class he had before?
We don't really talk. He's kind of a nerd.
Pep will glare at him.
He immediately backs down like a huge coward.
And he'll say, all right, thanks. And turn to Greg and just say, I guess we got to find him. I'll try to give him a call.
Yeah, you do that. And I will also do something not illegal. And he starts moving his fingers. You know that Greg likes the Google Glass contacts.
Yeah.
And he can manipulate them with, I guess, a special glove or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll try to give Robbie a call.
It rings and rings and goes to future voicemail.
I'll leave a future voicemail saying, hey, Rob, it's Pep. Call me back. We were supposed to meet by the bike racks, remember? And I'll just hang up.
Yeah, and you can see a very faint glow coming from Greg's eyes. His contacts are lighting up very slightly. And he's just muttering, almost there. Almost there. Zoom and enhance. Hacking engage. He says, I think that I've honed in on your brother's GPS via satellite. I can do a lot of things.
You don't.
Pep.
Do you do that a lot?
On the record, no.
I think you should save that for important occasions. Yeah?
Your brother missing isn't important?
Just in the future. Let's not do that casually.
Oh, well, gee, I'm sorry, Greg. You just hacked into a satellite and found the location of my missing brother. Well, maybe you should not do that, I guess. Save it for the future occasions, you know. Not, you're so smart, Greg. I can't believe you can do this. Wow, I'm so lucky to have you as a friend.
Where is he?
And he motions with his hand a couple of times as if, like, flicking screens away or whatever. And he says, he's already downtown.
What the heck?
He's actually closing in. Oh, nope, he's at City Hall.
What? Okay, I guess let's race down there.
Yeah, I guess so. And you guys will hop on. He hops on your bike. You definitely give him a lift.
Oh, he rides the pegs.
Yeah, I think he totally rides the future pegs.
I imagine Pat does have, he definitely does have pegs to, like, assist in moving around, like grinding down rails to take shortcuts and stuff.
Getting to the streets downtown, you see that several of the streets leading to City Center are full with food stalls and games and really shitty rides and stuff like that. City Center, where City Hall stands at pretty much, not directly at City Center, but it overlooks City Square, basically. At City Center, there's a growing mass of people congregating for Mayor Carmichael's speech. And at actual City Center is this large... It's probably a monument, but it's covered with like a very large tarp, something that's definitely going to be unveiled during the ceremony. And City Hall itself is pretty much unoccupied. There's people a distance in front of it, but it doesn't seem to be busy or anything like that.
Can you determine exactly where he is, Greg?
No, not really. I just know that he seems to be in City Hall.
That's weird.
Actually, oh, hold on. Sorry, Pep. May I have your permission to do more hacking? To maybe see who your brother's been talking to?
You don't hack our phones often, do you?
No, that'd be terrible.
Greg?
No, I don't. Honestly, I bought a spare phone to test run on. I'm just really excited to actually be able to work in the field and, you know, it's all very exciting.
It is exciting. See what's going on.
You're pedaling, and you have to slow down just because of the crowds. Otherwise, you'll careen into people. And you hear Greg from behind you just kind of mutter, "Oh, yeah, that's not good." Pep, it seems like he's been talking to, I don't know if you've even heard of him, but this guy at school named Splice. Well, he goes by Splice. Kind of bad news, but he's recently amassed kind of a group of no good friends, and word on the street is he's been handing out powers to these kids.
Handing out powers?
Yeah, like animal-based powers. I think he gave one girl the reflexes of a cat or something. I didn't really keep up with it, to be honest. It kind of sounded super lame. They call themselves the Manimals, but...
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about keeping a database?
Like a villain database?
Yeah.
Well, now I am.
Pep will kind of give him a side look and a smile and just like give him a nod. Say, let's do that. But right now, let's
Database is a cool hero name. I mean, what?
Bob will stop and just be like, actually, yeah, it is. I say, let's go make sure my brother doesn't do anything stupid.
Yeah, and you guys race off to City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see a panel or two of you weaving through and down. Like the panel keeps a solid position, and we see you bike through a crowd, and then you're further off in the next panel, and then you're just a little speck with Greg on the back in the far distant panel. Matt, I am at a point where I would like to ask you, what is the last panel of today's comic?
The last panel is probably Pep and Greg showing up to City Hall. Pep doing like the cool like slide on his bike to come to a stop, and then just standing there as there's like a smaller like panel like cut to the inside of Robbie probably hanging out with these teenage villains.
Yeah, we see him maybe peeking around a corner inside City Hall. Do you want speech bubbles in there, or do you just want like a shadow looming over him?
Oh, do the shadow with like a speech bubble, but like a really poignant like cliffhanger speech bubble.
Okay, so yeah, there's like a shadow looming over him. He's definitely not alone, but it's with him, not something against him, or not something pushing him into a corner. And there's a very small speech bubble coming from Robbie Pepper that just says, "I'd do anything for Powers."
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And that's potentially the end of the comic. I did want to ask, with Pep kind of doing that super cool sliding maneuver, do we maybe get just a little glimpse of part of his costume in his like backpack or something?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The he's definitely wearing the outfit underneath. What time of year is it?
It is October.
Oh yeah, he's for sure like hoodie and jeans, but like underneath is the outfit, and it's like a zip up hoodie. So like the zipper's down a little bit, and then like in the backpack you can see the new helmet sticking out with like the lights going like on the inside of the visor.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that you added the little panel with Robbie.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. Good idea.
I like the big splash panels in comic books with like the little like cutaway to something else. They're pretty cool.
I didn't even think of it, but I agree. That was a solid idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A good comic should end with like a big old splash panel.
Something poignant.
Yeah.
But that's all she wrote. That's the end of today's comic.
Very nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Outro. Engage. This is Mr. Critically Accursed popping in at the end of the issue to say thanks for listening. This has been issue number 9, Recharge. Matt and I had a lot of fun with this one, and I hope you had a lot of fun as well. So, if you've enjoyed this, I'm sure you will probably enjoy the future ones. I mean, we're 9 issues into this. I'm assuming if you've listened to 9 issues, we might be your speed for entertainment. Maybe. Regardless, we have a lot more stuff coming. And if you have enjoyed... No, I take that back. You should. If you're listening to my voice right now, you should contact us in some way. Reach out, let us know what you think of the show, what you think of the players, what you think of the super cool GM, and just throw us some support in one way or the other. We're doing this to reach out to the online tabletop community and give a little bit of that community some of the stories we make at our own table. So I really hope this does reach people out there and give them something interesting in their days. But regardless, we have a few more issues in the first volume of our Horizon series. And issue number 10 is coming up next with, you guessed it, Sky Valor. Catch you in the next one. Bye.
Superhero.